Hello, welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. I am Nikki Jacobs, uh, psychic medium, ET abductee, uh, participant, gate program, force participant into my labs and SSP and all of that. Let me know if you can see and hear me, please, in the chat. And hopefully we will not have what we had happen last week, which was not so fun. Anyway, because if I have to, I will go back in and do what I did last week, which was pause everything and figure out a different way to work things out. Again, please let me know in chat if you can hear and, well, not just see me, but hear me. And I'm really hoping I don't have issues with all of this. Anyway, tonight's topic is targeting. There's been a lot of conversation in two different groups, one in a GATE program group and in a targeting group, but also with somebody who is on Facebook as she's being gang stalked and heavily targeted. Excuse me. And kind of want to get into a little bit of that tonight. And it may not be everybody's forte. I understand that. I get that. See, I'm not seeing anything in chat. Just a second. There we are. Finally. Sorry, folks. For whatever reason, I'm not receiving the messages, and I had to literally. Are you hearing me now? Froze on your end. Hello, Sandra. Hi, Divine Hazel. Hi, Cheryl. Sound clear. I hear you. See, I wasn't even seeing any of that in chat. Let me know if it's no longer frozen on your end. So, anyhow, yeah, I was not seeing anything in chat. That is bizarre. That should not be taking place. Yes. Yes, you can hear. Okay, good. Oh, at least I'm hoping. Yes. Okay, so that is just odd that they're doing that. I thought it might be my phone or device that everything's connected to or whatever. Apparently it's not. Loud and clear. Thank you. No, okay. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate that. Anyway, tonight, so tonight is about targeting, not frozen. Okay. Tonight is about targeting, and some of the folks that I've come across, I'm not going to divulge their stories. That's their stories. That's their life. But what I do want to talk about is just targeting in general, because it is and can be done by government. Government can and does do different kinds of targeting, and it's not a good thing. Targeting at all is not a good thing by any stretch of the imagination. But there are deep programs within certain three-letter agencies, that's how I'm going to word that, who do target. And they will target for very different reasons. There's a lot of different reasons why people get targeted. For me, in my situation, it's because I and my family had read a book and I was curious. It was a very specific ufology government book that my family had been allowed to view, have in our possession, borrow for. I got to read it for 15 hours. I think it was in our possession for like 18, something like that. I had the math all figured out and all of that, and I know that it was within my hands for 15 straight hours, and my photographic memory and all of that. Um, there's a post on my my Facebook Nikki Jacobs Psychic Medium page where I don't necessarily promote one. Hello, Kevin. I don't necessarily promote this one individual. However, because of things I've learned from other people, um, things like no longer vetting their information. Um, and I know that from people that have been in my life or were in my life who have sent information and nothing was vetted. None of the information, I mean, it was just automatically used. And I'm like, oh, that's not okay. You've got to, oh, hello. You've got to do some real serious hardcore vetting when you receive information. Um, so I take great issue with that. So there's been a lot of changes over the years with this specific individual who's been in ufology for I believe more than 40 years. And so but they had specifically stated that they had been allowed to read a government document, and that government document sounded almost exactly like part of the sections of the book that I've read um, when I was 17, 18, whatever age I was at the time. And so I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce that name for that YouTube person. Um, so who's come in is saying hello. I'm saying hello back. Um, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce. I don't think I could pronounce your name. Um, Basie. Okay. What is your question? I'm not seeing a question in the chat. Um, so welcome, Basie, to my channel. So I I went ahead and put this person's video up on my that specific Facebook page, and I had people unfriending um, that specific Facebook page because I posted that person. You can ask a deep question. It's not guaranteed I'm going to be able to answer it. Uh, excuse me. I'll answer the best I can, and in what I know. Um, and I'm not necessarily doing psychic medium stuff. Unless there's a true situation and unless things actually start coming to me. I don't even know what that is. Cleavage clothes? I don't even know what that is. Um, oh, cleavage clothes. Yeah, I've got some of those. It's very rare that I wear them. Um, but so for me to post this, the reason I posted it was because she talked about a document that I read in that book. The line between, yeah, I get it. I'm a like and sub. Thank you for liking and subscribing. I appreciate that. Um, so I find it interesting that people get so bent out of shape when you post information and you're stating outright, um, this is information that I know when I read what I read. I find that incredible. They get all bent out of shape and get their I was going to say something else. I'll put it this way: knickers in a knot. Uh, anyway, so if you've got questions about some of the things I post, ask me. Instead of just outright leaving, frickin' ask. Use your words. It's an annoyance to me if somebody, I get it. People don't like certain individuals. I understand that. There are people in ufology I can't stand either, and no way in hell I would trust them. So, but I don't typically make that all public. I don't typically, hello. I can't pronounce, Anunda? Hello. Do I play the game Roblox? No, I do not. I'm not a gamer, although I could be quite easily. I That is something that I used to really enjoy. Um, but yeah, I don't know. We're talking in the '90s, um, early 2000s, and after that, I was like, nope, we're done. Uh, excuse me. So anyway, regarding targeting, so I wanted to get that out of the way. Uh, about that one individual regarding ufology and why I post certain information. Um, but targeting can be really an insidious thing to do to people. And government, yes, they do it. They do have specific reasons. And for that matter, if you're in the GATE program, or I mean, excuse me, were in the GATE program, and you have blacked out memories, you have sections that you can't remember, but yet you remember the rest of your life before and after that, start questioning that. Because if you're starting to realize, excuse me, if you're starting to realize that you're having or have had memory issues and you didn't start thinking about it, you might want to be waking up as to what was going on and what was happening and why those memories were blocked. Part of that for me and for other people I know, we were drugged. Now, I specifically was drugged with scopolamine, which blacks out the memory and makes you a mindless little, what I call a mindless little automaton. And what ends up taking place in that situation is you get completely controlled. It is something so severe to where, in my opinion, it's almost worse than any other mind wipe drug out there. It's pretty wicked. They literally did this to children. Now, according to what I know from other people and have what I've now understood from other people, they're doing it via what's called hemisync, which is where they're using tones in headphones. They have the kids listen to put headphones on, and then it starts affecting different tones and sounds. Hey, Joe. Hi, Marlena. Staring, that's fine. Whatever. So what ends up taking place is during the hemisync stuff, it affects the brain in a specific way. It forces the brain to focus a specific way and to help them take control of the brain. So it's much more insidious, in my opinion, in how it's being done now than how it was being done back then. And it's much more in the face of other people. They would never realize in the classroom what is taking place if other legitimate teachers walked in. Because in my situation with GATE, it ended up where one legitimate teacher came in. She didn't have a clue as to, she knew what cups were, but didn't know what, supposedly it was all fluoride. Bullshit. You had fluoride that was in a Dixie cup that was maybe this much. It was a swish and spit cup. And with the other one, you drank the entire thing down. Um, you're still waking up. Yeah, that's kind of how I am. I had a really rough time with my body today, and I've been fighting a migraine, so I was like really not sure if I was truly going to be on here. I was really hoping. But with targeting, when you're in the process of waking up, and yes, I did wake up. I woke up a long time ago, many years ago. Excuse me. To both ET abductions and the GATE program. And the GATE program actually, I don't know what hit me harder, being an ET abductee or realizing, yeah, I was in the GATE program, so what? That was my attitude. What does that have to do with anything? BFD. Big effing deal. So it was a big deal. It was horrifying when I realized and had a flashback memory. I woke up years ago. Can't remember your name now. Just a minute. Basie. Yeah, I woke up years ago, Basie. But when I realized that I'm talking with somebody and I am having a flashback, and the flashback is where I'm on my knees, rocking back and forth as an 8-year-old child. Haven't seen you in ages. Hello, Billy Bob. Billy Bob Logs. Hello. Hey, Brandon. Hi, Alexandra. John, how you doing? So anyhow, it was a mind bender, and it really, really freaked me out hardcore because in that room I had two adult men yelling and screaming at each other over me that they at that time couldn't break me, and that was when one of them was screaming about the scopolamine, and that's how I knew that scopolamine was, and I didn't know what scopolamine was. And so, and then later on, I had another flashback memory where I had a cattle prod used, an electric cattle prod. The first one I remembered was black. The next one I remembered was kind of a silver metal. It looked metal. It was silver in color, and I don't know if it was plastic. I don't know what it was. Hey, Steel Broski. I do not have OnlyFans, folks. I don't do that thing, that kind of stuff. And if somebody is doing images of me, somebody let me know because that shit's gotta stop. Anyhow, so my point being, yeah, waking up to this was a hell of a shock. Um, I I don't know, probably just as big of a shock as realizing that I was a real ET abductee. And it was hard. It was really, really tough going through it. And psychologically, you've got to allow yourself some time to process this. It's just like with the targeting. When you're going through targeting and you're getting people, and I had this happen when I realized I was part of the nefarious side of the GATE program, and when I was taken into deep underground military bases, it was a shock. And when I've talked about my ET abductions, people don't believe. I understand that. Many, many people, we've been conditioned in society not to believe this kind of thing and that it couldn't possibly be happening. Hello, Clocks 8137. Hi from India. Hello. And so it's a really tough thing to deal with and process. And you've got to take your time in it because it is an emotional and psychological issue in dealing with it. And I, I I'm just going to say it this way. I thank God almost every single day for the fact that I had these two counselors in the 1990s, because if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I'd be. I don't know how I would have dealt with this. Um, hey, Robert, you finally made it. I'm glad you made it, hun. Glad to see you. So, and Joe, thank you for coming in. Really appreciate it. Uh, it means a lot to me that I've got mods. Um, oh, that just reminded me of something that I can't say publicly. Robert knows about it, and I don't know, maybe Robert can. No, I'm not going to do that. Well, I'll tell Joe later, but it's going to depend upon who shows up in chat. You know what I mean, Robert? Um, anyway, so there are certain things. Yeah, not going there, Robert. um, yeah, up and down on that one. Holy crap. Anyway, targeting. Targeting can happen for a wide range of reasons, whether you're in the process of waking up because of the GATE program or because you've talked about something specifically in the public arena. And public arena, I also mean, folks, hello, internet, web, whatever you want to call it. Um, there have been stories that I've been reading, and they're legit stories about people who are getting targeted by I'm just going to say it this way because I'm not going to say the name, a three-lettered newer agency, let's put it that way, for people making, I want to say almost an innocuous statement. Um, Nothing threatening, nothing of terror of any kind whatsoever, and it's appalling as to what is taking place. So, Joe, I'm not going to do that publicly because it means outing somebody, and I'm not going to do that publicly. That's why I was thinking maybe Robert could just say somebody is no longer. I could say this: somebody's no longer in my life. Um, so, uh, anyhow, targeting really can happen for a wide range of reasons, and it can be very frightening, especially the different kinds of targeting. My targeting, I get it from CIA in a deep government program that I unexpectedly and shockingly learned about in 2019, March of 2019, which then led into other shocking programs that I found out about the very hard way, and who other people such as Robert, aka Battleliner, and other people. Now he and we've talked about this publicly on Hello Basie, I am seeing you, on the S4 bunker, or S4 paranormal bunker. We've talked about it publicly on a couple of other things that we've been on together. And targeting isn't easy. It isn't easy to deal with. And if it weren't for Robert and this other individual, they are the witness. Well, no, a couple of other witnesses. They are the witnesses to these people who have come into my home in astral. Um, Other psychics have seen them. That's a big deal. Other psychics have helped me fight them off in my own home. Um, that's a huge deal. You want me to call you Basie Bloomington because it's your real full name. Okay, I just don't call you late for dinner. Joe. Um, so, God, you're one of the very few that could get away with that statement with me. One of the very few. Um, so, uh, being targeted is not fun, and when you're gang stalked, you're dealing with an entirely different section of government that does deal with the CIA, folks. It deals with a very, very specific, deep and black and well-funded program. Why they do it, I don't know. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, why they're choosing certain individuals, but literally, it can be for almost any damn frickin' reason. And get this, if you were part of any program that you still have not recognized or realized about, um, man, you're going to be asking questions up one side and down the other and up the wazoo because you're going to be stressing as to why me? Why me? Well, maybe you don't know that you were part of My Labs or SSP program, multiple SSP programs, or part of some other thing that yeah, Joe. um, I think you and Robert could probably be the only two that could get away with that with me. Because I've known the two of you. I've known you both about the same length of time. Anyway, and I've got to know you both really well. um, God, anyway, you guys, both of you crack me up, and so does Drew and a number of others. You guys are just you're great people. Anyway, it just, and I know others have. We all have people who don't like us. So hello. We're one of those people either love us or they either hate us. So. Anyway, and I'm babbling tonight. I know. It's just, this is a really hard subject to talk about and get wrapped around. Hello, Richard. Hi, welcome to my chat. Welcome to my channel. Come in, grab a cuppa, whatever you wanna, and maybe a snack, and watch the show. And I don't typically call it a show because I hate calling it a show. I do not like that term. Because it's my life. I'm talking about my life and people I know and what they've experienced and had to deal with and go through, and oh my God. But being a targeted individual can be extremely affecting. They can get to the point to where they can make you financially unstable, excuse me. Don't need no stinking patches. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Call center. It's because this is what I could afford at the time. No worries. Not a big deal. So dealing with all of it, you've got to be very careful and be very selective. What ends up happening, yeah, same here. Freedom Forever 420 says, I've been abducted by Greys. Yeah, me too. I've been abducted by the nicer ones, and then the ones that really piss me off. Those I call MFers. So, yeah, I don't like them. But I've got some that I do, and they've been really good to me. And then there have been others that are like kind of a mixed bag because, you know, they've got their assignments and their jobs to, and that's all another subject. Anyway, Divine Hazel, sometimes I wish you would just spit it out. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Hazel. Trust me, I get it. It's very frustrating with me sometimes. It's kind of sometimes it's how my brain works if I've got everything written down, and because of the last 2 days with my health, I didn't write notes, and I had a whole thing on exactly how I wanted things to flow this tonight, and it just didn't happen. It's how my life is sometimes. Um, and it was something that was created on I think Tuesday or Wednesday, and I by Wednesday a lot of things had changed and taken place, so I wasn't able to put it all together the way I want to. Anyhow, so targeting with government can be real specific or it can be real general. I only last year found out that when you're part of SSP, you have records. You have military type records with the government that you are living in, born in, let's put it that way. It was a hell of an eye opener for me. And that's when I think it was the beginning of 2025 that end of 2024, beginning of 2025, when I found that out. You'd have to go back into my channel and scroll through and figure out which one it was that I talked about that on, or series of ones that I've talked about it on. Um, I got really angry. And when you make a realization that there are records of these things, that other people have seen their own records while they've been part of a program, that's evidence. I want that kind of stuff. Now, this is where my anger kicks in. Um, this is where all of my anger kicks in because I want my records. I want that kind of information. I want all of our records to go to Congress for them to see what the hell our government and other governments are doing, not only to illegally to its populations, because they are crimes against humanity, but they're also crimes against other species. That's a big deal. That's a really, really big deal. And I'm not talking about taking a government down. I'm talking about getting the information into, hopefully, the right hands to actually legally do something to create laws of some kind to prevent this kind of shit from going on. The use of children, the use of there's sections. I would agree with that, Hazel. There's she's saying Hazel is saying Congress is a part of it. There's a section of Congress that is, yes, but there's a main section that is not. They're trying to piece together what is taking place. And if we can get laws written in to prevent this kind of thing and actually go after the assholes who are doing this to our children, because it's still being done, people. It's still being done. Do you know how many times I have been in and out of different groups on different social media, trying to figure out how to word that without calling any specific one out. And people are talking about, oh, my kid is in the GATE program. My God, should I haul my kid out of the GATE program? Well, there's a legitimate side and a very detrimental side. But the problem is now, from what I'm hearing from others who are much, much younger than me, I'm 58, and these are kids. I look at them as kids. They're 21, 22 years old. They're not kids, they're adults. I get that. But hello, they're significantly younger than I am. but they are talking about the things that they remember and how the headphones are being used on them and how it's controlling, how it's forcing the brain into a specific state, and how then those government agents are then able to control those children. And they are children. We're talking, and I've known people who have been in that program at 4 years old. That is hardcore. 4 years old. I was 8. I can't imagine a 4 year old going through this. Plus, I found out in the last 2 weeks that there are, and I don't want to call them universities, there are campuses from kindergarten through high school, 12th grade, K through 12, where it's a full gate program. Well, how much of it is legit gate and how much of it is not? How much of it is government correlated, not correlated, controlled? How much of it is government controlled? And it's just, yeah, I'm wearing headphones, XIV Jacob 05, because of the fact that I don't have a device that is going, you're not going to be able to hear me very well, otherwise you can hear me, but it's not a good sound. So that's why I wear headphones. If you can't handle it, don't be in here. And no, I'm not controlling you. Hello, NASK937. Who? Government. He's also saying, this person's also saying, what you're saying, they're controlling us by headphones. I'm saying they are controlling by using what's called hemisync. It's specific tones where it activates in the headphones, um, uh, tones and frequencies, and it activates the brain in a very, very specific way, and it shuts down certain sections of the brain and brings forth other sections of the brain, and without drugging the individual, and without physically forcing them to drink a cup of liquid, a syrupy cup of liquid. So, yeah, the people, user 4545 is saying low vibrational state. Yeah, they themselves are in a low vibrational state to be doing this. Sedona 3688 water, greetings Earthlings. Hey Sedona, how you doing? Hey Henry. Okay. Okay, I just want to be sure. um Thanks, Joe. So yeah, there's all these things going on, and to find out that those who are part of any kind of deep black governmental U.S. governmental projects or programs, or hell, I believe in any government, in my opinion. But because I'm living in the United States, it's the U.S. government. So you're dealing with, if you're part of that, you either have some kind of contract that you are not aware that you may have signed. You may have even, well, you not may have, you will have records. There will be records. That's what I've been learning and have been horrified over, because those records, that means that's usable evidence. Who's willing to be the whistleblower and obtain those records? Think about that. That's a big freaking deal to have government records that you know nothing about and that you're part of a program you don't remember ever being in, because they are controlling you so well. And yet you're living your average everyday normal life or an above average everyday life, and you don't have a clue as to what's taking place. Think about what's going on with certain file. I don't say that man's name. Certain files. They've been coming out with information about um, certain things that individual was heavily involved in. Um, Hello, Hunter Wilson. Hello, how you doing? Um, it's a difficult thing to bring up with people. It's a difficult subject to really delve into and get involved in. And what happens to a lot of target 2020 on the numbers, 41 2020, interesting. Um, what happens with a lot of people who are targeted, they start not talking to many people in their life anymore, because either the person that they used to talk to either doesn't believe them or gives them a serious amount of shit for it, uh, or just outright targets them repeatedly, just targets them on repeat, and not realizing that they're targeting the person. I've seen that stuff. It's not nice. And so what ends up happening with the targeted individual is they essentially close off and close off and close off from all the people around them, and they become very, what I call, isolationists, and for rightly good reasons, because people get really um, difficult about these subjects. Um, 1 second, I gotta hang on. Sorry. Steel Broski is asking, what are your thoughts on part of the population just being NPCs? Um, I can't remember I know what it stands for. My brain is not connecting it. But anyway, at this point, they live to consume and believe whatever they are told. Yeah, they're part of the population who are, they haven't woken up yet. And I hate using that word woke. But it's, hello, Pacific Northwest Greens. How you doing? Um, they have not or refuse to. I've known people that outright refuse to. They are so heavily controlled by society that they. I don't even know what that is, Boogie. Will you play GTA? I have no idea what that is. Um, I'm not a gamer. These people are so heavily controlled by social media, by um, believing in everything that the government tells them, and I call it hook, line, and sinker. Whoa, 2222 on the numbers. Um, wow, four set, four twos. Interesting. Interesting numbers tonight. So you gotta be real careful. Um, you gotta be real careful around the people, and you gotta figure out if they are Grand Theft Auto. Thank you. I knew I recognized it, Joe, but I just couldn't get my brain to um, grab onto it. Anyway, Pacific Northwest Greens, ignorance is a bliss for some. Yeah, and I've known. Oh, hey, how you doing, Julia? Anchor Haven's in the house. Um, so being targeted is not a fun thing, and it's really a difficult situation to be in. And you lose a lot of people in your life, or You have people who believe that everything that's happening in their life is because of you. Oh, hey, Para. How you doing, hun? Um, Fearless Phoenixine says, "Hey, hi. How you doing?" Um, FT Blocklean? Blocklean from hi from Sweden. Hello, hi. How you doing? Wayne Walker, live outside that spectrum that people live in, like being controlled by the government of what they watch, not being influenced. Um, so it really is a tough situation. You start losing the people around you. Uh, if it gets to the financial situation, it can get to your work. It can affect how you function at work, or it can affect people around you, or people around you at work are part of the control, and they are also part of what some people would call handlers. A spouse can be a handler. I mean, there's all different sorts of situations this can get into. So targeting can be a wide range. It's not just one thing. And it's not just, oh my God, because of this, I'm being targeted. Well, what kind of thing was it? And are you part of deep government and don't know it? Um, oh, I didn't realize you were still in the UK, Julia. Oh, how was the event? She was at a wonderful event. I would have loved to have been there. Um, Really awesome event. Anyway, a lot of really cool people. Um, we're out of tune with the world, and it's all by design. Yeah, I tend to agree with that too, because there's so much involved in this. It's a truly difficult subject in dealing with targeting. Um, Force of nature is literally what I just heard. Yeah, targeting can become a force of nature. Got to run. I'll be back later. Okay, thanks, Joe. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you, thank you. Um, so I live out here. Bases 2026 was a good conference. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm really glad to hear that. Um, oh, and that's what I was. Well, I'm not going to say that. I was going to, but I'm not going to say what I was. So we all have to be very careful, especially nowadays, especially with how governments are dealing with their populations. It gets uh, really becomes a tough situation. And for some people, not only can they lose their jobs because of this, it can get into, for a wide range of reasons, it can get into your banking. This is why I believe people need to have cash in hand, um, and be very, very careful because you never know. Because one of the things, there are people that I've known that have been targeted individuals and they've had to live out of their cars. And I'm not talking because they wanted to, they've had to because otherwise they would be living in a different way on the streets in tents, in um, situations that are really, really, really rough. Um, yeah, it's really tough, and there have been people who have been made homeless because of different forms of targeting, and blaming somebody else. You don't know if they are or not part of your targeting, because targeting can become gang stalking. It can be, you can have not just one handler, you can have multiple different handlers, and that gets into um, some tough situations, really tough. Uh, and yeah, you've got to look back at the different things, and I mean, you can even lose insurance, and I mean, even state insurance, because things can get really, really bad really fast. I will never forget the story, another man's story, where because he had witnessed, and this is a very public story, very relatively well known story is how I should say that. This one gentleman owned his own business, mega multimillionaire, and because he was told to walk through a essentially a warehouse, he saw something that he shouldn't have, essentially, but he was told by a government agent to walk through, and never signed an NDA. And hey, Sedona, how you doing? Um, it he lost his business. He lost everything. He became homeless for a long, long time. It affected his adult children, and they were part of the business, and their father essentially died penniless. Um, and it was because government targeted him because he refused to sign an NDA. They essentially, in my opinion, murdered him. They unalived him. And just using the M word on this platform, I don't know. We'll see if how long this stays up. But you've got to do your due diligence, be very, very careful. And if you, uh, if you work for certain people, have backups. That's my opinion. It's a personal opinion. I mean, seriously, you make sure you've got um, backups and ways out. I don't know how else to say that without getting really specific. Only you know what that's going to be for your situation in your life. And if you're in a situation to where you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's really difficult. Um, and when I was living that way in the 90s, you find even $2 here or there and you start saving. It may take you a long time, but you at least will have a little bit of a backup. And back then, I didn't put it into a bank, because back then banks were charging to have well, they still do, checking account or even a savings account. So everything was cash in hand. So you have to do what is in your own best interest, and I would highly recommend preparing. And I'm not talking fear mongering here. I'm just simply saying think about what's going on in your life, be aware, and prepare. But I'm not talking out of fear. I'm just saying, look, it's you're preparing just in case you have to have that extra umph financially behind you. It's kind of a big deal. And if that means not having your cup of joe, Starbucks or whatever company that you go to or coffee shop that you go to, if that means not having one of those a month, that's money that I mean, make it at home. Make it at home, take it with you. Don't set it up the night before so that you can make it and go. And it can be really, it's extra money that is putting back into your pocket and saving for quote unquote the rainy day. Um, and not that you're expecting things to happen, but it's good to always be some kind of prepared. I learned that in the 90s too. I learned that growing up. My mom taught me that. Um, we were pretty poor, and if it hadn't have been for my grandfather, I don't think we would have. I don't think my mom would have been able to um, buy a house that we had for, I think it was 3 or 4 years. And every other place after, before and after that, were rentals. So, um, yeah, it becomes a quite an interesting series of events and situations, and you have to use what you know. Um, and if you don't know information, start learning. Um, okay, I haven't read chat in a while. Hang on one second. Let's see. Oh wow, Marolina, that's a heck of a dream. Okay. Fearless Phoenixine says I didn't understand targeting when my aunt used to talk about it when I was younger. I wish I had known what I know now. I understand. Miss Frederick. Okay, who is Lloyd? Oh, yeah, okay. Um, Pacific Northwest Green says our ancestors were a lot more aware of things on a cosmic scale. Yes, they were. Keep your eyes to the sky and never ignore your intuition instincts. They are given to us for a reason. I totally agree. Okay, I think I've. Okay, let me get. Bailey, I'm so sorry you've experienced that. I hope you're able to find something. Um, and yeah, Anchor Haven, I agree. Bailey, Anchor Haven says, Bailey, that's rough. Take time to rest. Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing. When you're going through those kind of stresses, find different ways to help alleviate some of that stress, even if they're, ouch, even if they're in little ways. It's a big deal. Makes a difference. Whoops. And we hit the button, and the light goes wild. Um, Yeah, Marilyn, I've been thinking that along the same lines. Marilyn says, I'm feeling that soon we will have a reset and I need to be prepared. I understand that. Okay. Bailey says, low, luckily low paying jobs are in abundance. Yes and no, if you can access them, because you can get what I've been hearing from people who hire um, is that they will get anywhere from 20 to 50 job applications and people don't show up for interviews. And I find that incredible. It's very different in how people respond to interviews and jobs now, and it's um, kind of mind bending in how the younger generation has been taught about things. Or if it's not taught, then it's how they are themselves are learning from other people. It gets really weird. Um, Fearlessly Phoenixing says there's a huge difference between fear mongering and preparing people with truth and helping them, and that's what you're doing is you're helping people. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Phoenix. Um, Fearlessly Phoenixing is saying I just had to spend my nest egg. It sucked, but it was necessary, and now we built it up again. Good for you. That takes a while. I've been down that process. That really does take a while. Um, Gronculus 227 says, Jesus loves you. hmm So, uh, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight. Do Pablo Patriot 518 is asking, do you know Anita Blackhawk? No, I don't. I don't even recognize the name. What did she do? What's her subjects? Um, okay, folks. So if you've got questions about ETs, because now I'm at the stage to where, do you got questions about ETs, MyLabs, SSP? The only thing that I remember about, famous movie star, uh, see, that's the thing. I used to watch a lot of TV shows and movies, and I don't watch a lot anymore. I mean, I'll watch TV or I'll do the periodic sit and watch the same show but different episodes over and I can't think of what that's called at this second. My brain's not. I'm lucky I'm even here right now talking publicly. Um, and I got hit yesterday and this morning with a microwave technology. Speaking of targeting, and I had government assets in Astral earlier this week, and I made a statement. Look, if you're gonna continue with this shit, I'm gonna start making your name public. I'm tired of you being here. I'm tired of you. I'm a non-smoker. I'm tired of you entering my home, reeking of cigarette smoke, and smoking your cigarette in your environment, but you're affecting mine, and you're literally making me sick. And or they'll come in and I caught one of them, walked right through them, and I'm like, you know what? I can tell the public just exactly what kind of individual you are because of what you were doing that specific day. You ever enter my home again, I will make your life a miserable hell because of what he did that one day. And he'd been in and out of here for a couple of years. And I'm like, no, 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 no. That was my last straw with him. I was like, huh, no. Now you're targeting somebody else you don't target. No, 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 no. I call bullshit on that and I will make your life in Astral a living hell. And I will demand the other side deal with you. So, and I got told shortly thereafter that they're all being dealt with. They're all going to be starting to have very specific, not nice things happen. And they're like, we don't like what's happening to you, what they're doing to others, and their time's up. And I was like, whoa. When you get the other side telling you their time's up, oh gosh, watch out. Hang on a sec. Recall. I had a really weird recall the other day regarding an ET that I had to go. So it felt so real with visual and conversation, but okay. Fearlessly phoenixing. Um, was it a dream that you had? Was it in the recall? Was it a dream-like feeling? I've got a bunch of questions for you as an ET abductee myself. I'm lifelong ET abductee, and the way the ETs control the human body and the brain is kind of, it's a mind-bending thought process. So, um, Naz K937 is asking, you got hit with microwaves? Yeah. Yeah, when I say I'm a targeted individual, I'm not frickin' joking. They've been, since 2021 on, no, 2022. I always get the 2 years confused. One is because I broke my tailbone in 2021. Um, I think it was August of 2022. It was right after I started this channel, and it was like a month after I started it. So it would have, maybe it was July or August. Anyway, yeah, I got targeted, and the very first time I was targeted, I was on a live broadcast, and I was being targeted with DEWs, direct energy weapons. Um, and when that wasn't stopping me, they started targeting me with microwave technology, frequency weapons. And those effers, those hurt. They burned my skin. And I had a couple of experiences of those this week where. One second, please. I gotta be able to focus to be able to then concentrate again. Okay. All right. So basically, yeah, they will target. They know how to do it, and it's well documented now. Look up. Oh, I'd hate referring people over to the CIA.gov website, but go to their website and start looking up direct energy weapons and how they're using them. It's or better yet, find the patents on them, because the U.S. government has patents on it at the patent office, and they go back from, crap, I can't remember. I think it's the 50s. It's either the 50s or the 60s, and it talks about how they're being used and what military has been using them for how long. Go look it up. Seriously, it's hardcore shit. It's mind-bending, mind-altering. Matter of fact, I referred a couple of doctors that I know. I'm like, if you go look it up, this is what they're doing. And I didn't necessarily, I can't say I outright didn't believe it, but I suspected whether it was real or not. I've learned the very frickin' hard way. Oh, it's very real. And it's a real pisser. And it's incredibly maddening. I get very, very angry at them. And so, and rightly so. I have every right to be as angry as I am about what they're doing to me and what they're doing to a lot of people I know. I know somebody who was at a event and was so heavily targeted that they and a number of other people have cancer because of it. Hello? That's very serious shit. And they can definitively prove it in their medical records. That's some serious shit, too. So you got that crap going on, yeah, and people don't think targeting isn't real. You're off in your own little Delulu land if you're not. This stuff, people call me delusional or schizophrenic or I don't know what the hell I'm talking about or all that crap. Let me tell you something. The people that I have known and have come across, and I'm trying to think of how long, 8, 9 years. I'm trying to think if it's been a while. Um, I've been horrified by what I've learned. Absolutely, truly, and deeply horrified by okay, no tears. It is frightening what is happening to a lot of people. It is truly, deeply terrifying as to what is being done. 1, 1, 1, and almost 11. So we've got 111 and 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Interesting. Um, okay. Sedona is asking about a certain individual who put out an image of white hair alien Nordics in red about 2 weeks ago. That's bullshit. Absolute, stark raving, lying bullshit. They don't look anything like that. Just an FYI. At least not to my experience. Had to do with DNA to fix. Like a patch similar to in a program how you look for a code patch. It was weird. Oh. Okay, I've had something similar happen. Fearlessly Phoenix. Um, I don't know how to describe what I've experienced in that specific experience. How do I? So there are situations. Okay, so and I don't know if it's going to be able to be seen, but I've got certain lines on my arm that after I was out in the sun, they showed up. After I had my first tan of the summer, I mean, like real. It was like I had been sunburned, and it didn't show up then. But the following day, because I'd used castor oil, I used a combination of frankincense resin oil and castor oil on my arm, or well, on different sections of my body because I was quite red. And the following day, I was tan. I had these marks show up, and like square patch marks, actual square patch, and I went, that explains what happened to me in this year when my arm hurt so bad and I couldn't figure out what the hell it was. They had done surgery. So that is something that I talked about a number of years ago publicly, is that when you get older and your skin gets thinner, some of these it has been known by certain people to where like there was a 80 some year old guy married long time to his wife, and he went to take his shirt off and he had some kind of weird surgical mark on his back. He'd never had surgery in his life on anywhere on his body. And his own doctor, he went to the doctor. They couldn't figure out what it was from. And they were like, "You've had surgery." And he's like, "I've never had surgery. You've known me for this amount of time, many, many years. I've never had surgery on my back. I've never had surgery anywhere." And so now I'm starting to see different things in my skin. And I'm like, oh my God. So, yeah, I'm wondering how many surgery marks on me are going to start showing up from surgery marks that they did on me, or surgery that they did on me. I'm wondering, are surgery marks going to show up on my throat or on my neck, or, because of my ears, um, or hell, even on the top of my forehead or my scalp, because they've done so much to me over the years. So, um, some of it's to save my life, some of it's to save me from and I know that the mark that is on this section of my arm, that is I literally, when I saw it, the first image I had that popped through my head was the horseback riding accident that I had in 2000, September of 2002. And where I went to protect my head, my hip hit first, and then my head hit, or actually my elbow and my arm hit, and because I was protecting my head, I was holding my head, and the fact that I can even do that without screaming, that's a big deal. And I put my arms up over my head to protect my head as best as I could because I wasn't wearing a helmet. None of the kids were, none of the adults were. So, um, Marilena, you go. Nikki, tell them they can't mess with us anymore. No, they really can't. They can try, but they don't really succeed. And with some people, they do succeed. So it gets really kind of wonky. Um, dream snapback, big dream, but had convinced myself I had to have seen it somewhere only to find nothing. Yeah, I understand. Um, Marilena, yes, me too. I broke my tailbone in the same period. Because it's winter here twice, they attempted to unalive you. Yeah, I've had that. I've had, I had two agents were living at a different apartment at the time, and we were gone for 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes tops. And I remember putting the key in. It was unusual that I was at the door first. And I put the key in, and I felt the energy first, and I went, somebody's been here. And I put the key in the lock, and as I went to grab the handle to turn the doorknob, I felt two men's energy. And when I opened the door and took one step through the threshold, I could smell both of them. I could smell one was wearing cologne and deodorant, and the other one was just wearing deodorant. And I have them, I've got them all described, what they look like, what I psychically saw of them, and even got one of their names. And son of a bitch, wouldn't you know, one of those MFers comes back, comes walking down the comes walking down the parking lot. And this was 5 to 7 months later is how I'm going to word that. And I looked at this person and I said to who was driving, I said, that's the MFer that was in the apartment. And I just got looked at and stared and not a word. So, and I'm like, this effer's coming back. Why? Well, that's when the first time it had occurred. I know they put a device in my home, and I know what device, or I know what item they put a device into. That's how I want to word that. So, yeah, they went through some of my things. They were looking for specific things, and they didn't find really what they were after. They were looking for something real specific. They didn't find it. They did find other things, but they didn't find what they were hunting for. I have things to say about that, but I think I'm going to stay quiet on it. Steele Brodsky, I feel like they flush social media with clearly fake alien propaganda, so if something real is seen or shared, most people won't think it's real. Yep, a lot of AI shit out there. Yeah, Marilena, that's she says I was supposed to hit my head or break my back. Yeah, I was supposed to go through a plate glass window or a sliding glass, not plate glass. I was supposed to go through a sliding glass window when I tripped and fell and was trying to prevent myself from going through that window. And I would have. I'm a big girl, and with dead weight as you fall, I would have gone straight through that window. And I was trying to prevent myself from doing that. And in the process, um, I somehow contorted and landed on a pile of firewood and broke my tailbone. So yeah, I get it. I was supposed to be cut to ribbons amongst other things. So um, NAS K937, maybe you should get copper and shield. Shield spot in your house or something. Yeah, I know somebody who um how am I gonna word this? Basically surrounds themselves, sleeps in a bed surrounded by metal. That's how I'm gonna word that. I know other people that use aluminum foil. I know other people. And just an FYI, if you are trying to shield yourself from dew weapons, and you have to wear that foil, multiple levels, 2 to 10 levels of foil over a device, and it's over your bed, start looking at the top layers of that top 2 layers of that aluminum foil. You will find burn marks, especially if that you'll find burn holes. And if it wasn't for somebody else, I wouldn't have realized that. Yeah, um, I've got certain things up on my window, and there's burn holes in them. They're real tiny, but they're not even pinholes, but they're actual burn holes. Um, because some of that doesn't get, now it makes sense for the pieces that get moved, but the ones that absolutely never get moved, those have they have burn holes in them. That's dew frequencies. That's what microwave technology will do. It will literally burn through, especially so many times of being hit with it. So yeah, I've known people to put metal plates or metal like, I don't know how else to call them, but they're thin metal plates up against a wall or a window, not a wall. Um, and if I had it my way, I would sleep in a Faraday cage. I'm not frickin' joking at this point. I would sleep in a Faraday cage because it has gotten so bad. Just sleeping, or for that matter, even sitting in my room, in the living room, anywhere in my home. So yeah, it gets wicked sometimes. Targeting is not fun, especially when it comes to uh, direct energy weapons. Okay, reading. Um, Hello, Ida Willis. Welcome to my channel. Para, I am not reading that out loud. Regarding the tall whites, You say the tall whites don't look like that. I'm not reading the rest of that out loud. Oh, that's funny. It's actually, I shouldn't be laughing about that, but that's actually quite funny. Um, One essence means in the context of. Okay. Yasen Frempong 5009 is asking about the essence. Uh, as I understand it, it's a form of energy. Um, Boy, oh boy, 11. If you can, should you? Yeah. Okay, hang on a minute. Um, okay, Fearlessly Phoenix is asking about teeth removal. I'm not going to get, ouch, I'm not going to get into all of that, but I'm not going to read all of everything. I'm not going to read out loud everything that you talked about. However, that said, in answer to your question, what I know is that our teeth, just like we have meridians on our body, meridians and chakra points and all of that, our teeth, just like our fingers, fingertips, and our hands, our feet, the bottoms of our feet, all have massage pressure points. Um, and you get into that when you start dealing with Eastern medicine versus Western medicine. Now, what I learned a few years, and I do mean a few, it's been maybe 3 or 4 years ago that I've learned this. Teeth also have different sections of the body. So I had 4 molars pulled years ago. It is the whole reason I have now a frickin' gap in my teeth, front teeth, which is really severely pissed me off because I went through extensive orthodontic care when I was a teenager, going from junior high into high school, and they have a gap in my teeth has really frickin' pissed me off. Um, and my point is that those molars that were removed, I found out they affect the heart. They affect, I was going to say the spleen. That's not right. They affect different organs in the body. So when you have teeth removed, or dental worked on, uh, and you have the root system and all of that is still there, um, it all affects different sections of your body. So there's that aspect. That is what I know. That is uh, documented, but in Western medicine, it's not, and it's not well liked. If you go to talk about that with a dentist, or if you go to talk about that with a regular medical doctor who doesn't have the background or the knowledge like a lot of the naturopaths, they've got that knowledge because that's trained. They are trained to understand that and understand different things that regular medical doctors are not taught. Just like most medical doctors are not typically taught about nutrition, or about more involved in women's hormones. That's a whole nother subject. All of that is a whole different series of subjects. So do your own deep dive research. I would highly recommend doing that because it's a hell of an eye opener. In the 1990s, our family used to get very heavily involved in pressure points on the feet and the hands and massage therapy for the feet and the hands, and how the feet and the hands really affect other sections of body. Um, there we go. That's better. Okay. So there's that aspect of it. Have a weird hold on you. Sounds crazy. I don't know. Actually, it doesn't sound crazy, but look into how the teeth and the eyes affect different sections of the body. There's also what's called iridology. I mean, look into teeth and how it affects different sections of the body. Look into iridology, because there are things that are missed. That's why when I talk about, oh, my eyes change color, um, and when they change color, it means certain things in my body are taking place. That's one of the reasons why I talk about that, because this is information that I have learned and come across over the course of many years. And if it can help somebody else, just start doing your own research. It's kind of a big deal. Um, so, and if I got accused recently of being motherly to everybody, and if that's how people see me, so be it. Um, and if other people don't like it, so be it. That's how I am. I don't want people to go through what I've been through. And there's a lot of different things I have been through in my life. If I can help prevent somebody else from going through a bunch of shit, then I'm going to talk about different experiences, and maybe that can be correlated into something in another person's life, and they can figure out some other aspect. One of the books that I used to highly recommend was called Prescription for Nutritional Healing. Um, that book became okay. So I had so in the 90s, my go-to herbal book was called The Way of Herbs by Dr. Uh, it's either David or Michael. I think it's Michael Tierra. He is or was, I don't know if he's still around, naturopath. And he's got a couple of updated versions of that. And because of that book, I learned a gigantic amount of information. The next book that was just a godsend to me and my family, and to a lot of other people, because I had a lot of people coming to me and going, "Oh my God, that book is so phenomenal! Can you read to me what it says about that, that, that?" And whew, I mean, wow. Um, and when you deal with the gut microbiome, that can affect, and it's been scientifically proven now that it can and does affect when the gut microbiome in a body um, is off, it can affect the brain. And if there are, and I'm just going to say this very bluntly, if there are nutritional deficiencies, do your own research into this, people. Don't go off of what I'm telling you. Go do your own freaking research. When you've got nutritional deficiencies, that affects the body too. And when those nutritional deficiencies are so severe, it can cause, and especially with the gut microbiome, it can cause a lot of psychological problems in the brain. That's scientifically proven. That's documented. Um, do your own research. Figure out a way to, and talk to your other doctors and figure out a way to help heal your gut microbiome, and find the way for the right vitamin supplements, and and foods, the correct foods that you need to eat to help fix those series of situations, and it'll help you. I know we got off on a different subject here, but it can really help. And I get people now bitching at me over the fact that I'm overly motherly, or I've been called a know-it-all. Well, no, I just do an extensive amount of research. Do your own frickin' research. If I give you an idea to look something up, go frickin' look it up. Don't lay your blaming crap and guilt on me. That's on you. You got to do your own due diligence for your own body. Um, I had to learn the hard way. I'm just an experiencer. I mean, hello. Um, um, okay. Tuning in, what are we talking about? Oh, hey. Just curious one, a wide variety of things tonight. Um, oh, yes. Thank you, Para. If you have he's saying if you have questions, please put it in all caps. It's easier to notice. Boy, is it ever. The lady on the screen is, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Para. Uh, oh, didn't know that. I don't use Timu or what is it? Todo? I don't know how to even pronounce it. I don't use any of those. Um, Wound cage. Yeah. Hello, big skunk 808. Hello. Um, um, Hey, Philip Blair's in the house. Right on, Philip. I agree with that. He says you can get affordable electromagnetic shielding curtains to hang around where you sleep. Right on. That's actually what I want to do is I want to create a cage. I want to take PVC pipes. What I would prefer to use are copper pipes, really, well, not that, about this big copper pipes, and put them up and create a pyramid at the top, and create a Faraday cage around it. Is what I want to do, but that's a little on the expensive side. So, what I will probably end up doing sometime this summer is put up PVC pipe canopy type of situation, and then use some kind of Faraday fabric or something, and different levels and different metals and different things like that. Um, because it's gotten to the point of this is just freaking ridiculous. And I know people that are getting hit harder than I am. I mean, like much, much harder than I am getting hit with do weapons and microwave technologies. So, and I know people who are wearing metal beanie caps, metal baseball hats, specifically designed for frequency warfare, because that's what this is. It is a frequency warfare. Our bodies are under attack. And when our bodies are under attack this way, whether it's from Wi-Fi or microwave technologies or direct energy weapons, and it's all frequency weapons, and it's all well documented. This is not me being a nutcase. Go in and do your own research. It is very, very well documented, and there are patents the U.S. government has for these things. Go and do your own research. I scream about that all the time. Well, it's not scream, but I talk about that all the time. Do your own research. This is real stuff. And if you choose not to do your own research, then you're essentially part of your own problem. Um, Marilena says, "Have a good evening, Nikki. I'll see if I can join you later this morning. I'll chat with you soon." Okay, thank you. It's good to see you here. Oh, Wizard Whitkiss is here. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Whitkiss? Um, Charles Shelton is asking, "Are you a witch or something like that?" No. I'm a psychic medium who used to promote that a lot. Now I barely promote that. I'm an ET abductee, uh, forced participant in Gate, which turned into deep underground military bases, which turned into MK Ultra torture techniques being used on an 8-year old, which turned into my labs, which then went into SSP, which is known at being a forced participant in SSP, which is known as SSP is known as secret space programs, and there are multiple secret space programs. I'm an experiencer of a lot of paranormal. Because of being a psychic medium, I've experienced a lot of that all my life. So that's what I am, where I am, and how things are. Um, each two, Divine Hazel is saying each tooth is connected to a major organ within the physical body. Yes, it is. Um, Philip, Old Western medicine before for-profit medicine has a lot of good healing, helpful medicine. Yes, it does. Yes, Philip is saying during feudal times, traditional Western healers were hunted down and unalived, labeled as witches. Yeah, I was in the gotta think on what years these were. 13 to 1600s, past lifetimes. I was an herbalist. Number of lifetimes as a hardcore herbalist, and there were a number of times where, and this is why I had problems with the Catholic Church back in the day, and I do mean back in the day. I mean, hello, 1600s, 1700s. Before I was in my native, before long before I was in my Native American lifetime in the 1800s, or lifetimes plural. I Yeah, I was hunted down. So yeah, it's go into hiding. Then there was uh, a lifetime where uh, I was a witch in a number of past lifetimes. Not in this lifetime, and I wasn't in the last many lifetimes. So, well, in the last, how should I say that? Last 200 years, I was not a witch in past lifetimes. I was an herbalist. Very different. Well, yeah, yes and no. Just depends on your viewpoint, I suppose. Um, Paramarv is asking, so what effect might it have to pull all your natural teeth and then have the implants installed? You know, that's a really good question, Para. I honestly don't know. I know that naturopaths would throw a hissy fit over it. Um, I don't know. I know that it can do some. Uh, this I do know. I do know that it can affect the organs quite significantly, but I don't know how. So hopefully that, I mean, it gives you an answer, but I don't know exactly in how it affects. I know that it can be detrimental, but I don't have a clue as to how detrimental. I don't know what kind of harm it could do. But I know that when I had those affected, I had more significant heart issues pop up. So that, um, which is weird. I'm not angry about that. I'm more angry. I should be. I should be more angry about that. I'm more pissed off about that damn thing. Um, because that actually causes problems like when I go to eat an apple, like bite into an apple. Oh, that's a whole nother subject. But anyway, yeah. There's a homeopathic. Okay, so Noza Nitro 64. I'm not gonna. Okay. Regarding eye things, look into. There's homeopathics. Look into Eyebright. Do your own research. It's the homeopathic is called Eyebright, but do your own. There's herbs that are um, called Eyebright, and back back in the 90s, when we could not afford to take our animals to vets, I used to uh, own books already on. I was trying to get my words, and I couldn't grab the right words I wanted to say. I used to own books on natural animal care, and I had bought the eyebright herb. I don't remember the botanical name of it right now, but it's known as eyebright, which is also homeopathics. There's homeopathics called eyebright, and I made up a tea. And you keep a room temperature tea, and I rinsed the animal's eyes with, and it alleviated a lot of problems. Um, so look into things like that. But like I said, do your own research. Um, right on, Philip. My family doctor has been helpful protecting me from certain aspects of big pharma. I'm grateful to him for this. That's a huge deal. I know what that's like. Um, Divine Hazel, the physical body always wants to be healed. Put your, excuse me, God phone on and ask God for answer. Yeah. Oh my good grief. Pardon me. Um, she was an epic singer. Hey, Nissan boy, how you doing, Christian? Happy Sunday. Is it really? Yeah, oh my God, it is. I didn't even realize the time. Okay. Motherly is a compliment depending on how you view it. Yes, I agree. So I'm really far back in the chat. Sorry, guys. Um, Chance Coddle says, "Do your own frickin' research, y'all." Yep, I agree. They say the gut is the second brain. Yes, it is. It's one of the reasons why I did not do stomach removal or lap band. Um, Not only that, but because of psychic things. Because I receive things, I don't know how else to say it, but through my stomach, through my gut. So, um, Christian is saying, "You are just a caring person, Nikki. We need more of that in this world." Thank you for that. I appreciate that, especially after what I went through this past week. Um, Ooh, I'm almost done. Whoops, I hit a button again. Lynn Sizzle says they make copper fabric. Just Google it. Yes, they do. USAF Gator 5G. Yep. Hello, USAF Gator. How you doing? Thank you for your service. As long as you're not in SSP. Regular service, yes. Thank you. I do very much appreciate our regular military folk. Very, very much. A lot of family members who were retired military. They were wonderful people. I miss my great uncles. Um, Fearlessly Phoenixing says, "Truth! I love that. Quote, do your own research, and if you don't, you're part of your own problem." End quote. That's amazing. Yeah, it's what I've learned to be truth for a lot of people, and there have been a lot of people that I've actually had to walk away from, and a few that it's just been absolutely heartbreaking to me to do that with. Um, so your headphones look so Pat McCart says your headphones look like you're working in a drive-through. Laugh out loud. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me one bit. I don't have the kind that attaches to the clothes and all of that. So this is what I do. Mostly because I use headphones all the dang time. Um, so for any device I'm on. So just kind of how it is. Okay. Philip says, that's awesome, Philip. Philip says, I identify as a human animal myself, a naked ape animal. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. That's great, Philip. Hey, I'm at the bottom of the chat. What do you know? Um, yeah, Paris says to somebody else in chat, yeah, I used to think it was weird when my dog would eat grass, but now I know they are just taking care of themselves. Yep, totally agree. Um, and Lynn Sizzle said, Sizzle or Sizzle? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Heartfelt apologies. Lynn says, your gut pretty much controls everything in your body. Yes, it does. It truly, really does. Do the research. Um, Not repeating that, Phoenix. um, so anyway, but yeah, targeting and just an FYI, yeah, targeting can affect the gut microbiome. I learned that because of other people. It can. Some people I've heard talk about how when they are targeted by certain kinds of direct energy, they get what's called dumping. That's usually what is happening to individual. Oh God, this is driving me nuts. Yeah, there we go. That's usually what is happening to people who experience like lap band or part of their stomach removal, bariatric surgery stuff. Um, and it's where their intestine. Okay, not for them, but with the direct energy targeting, specific kinds, it literally causes the intestines to, everything just slides right through. You won't digest, you won't, none of it. And that can get really severe. So, and then you've got the Havana or Savannah syndrome. I'm not sure exactly what's the difference between the two, but that's something I need to do my own research on. Preaching to the choir on that one. But anyway, yeah, look it up, see how it can affect you, and it can affect the brain. They've been trying to e how do I word this? They have been trying to not only get me to shut up from talking, they have been trying to force my brain into not remembering the memories that I've got. And with that kind of targeting that they're doing, it's not working. What they're doing is actually changing my language, um, and how I retain my words. And that is incredibly angry and incredibly frustrating. And yeah, I want the MFers who are targeting me, that are pushing the buttons, that are setting the schedules for this, I want them heavily targeted themselves. Um, and because I'm not the only one that they're doing this to. They're doing this to a lot of people. And with it going on with that kind of direct energy weapon frequency targeting, um, I have very specific ideas that can be done in way of their consequences. Um, Going back all the way back to the MFer who started this whole series of shit with me. So all because I asked about a fucking book. Pardon my language. So, a specific government book, if it was even real, if it was possible, and that asshole turned around and gave my name up to the CIA. So that's how I ended up being targeted. Fearlessly Phoenix, thanks for such an awesome time, everyone. Have a wonderful sleep and hope to catch another live soon. Sweet dreams, y'all. You too, my dear. Take very good care. Lynn is saying, I'm into herbs and teas and tinctures, cleansing techniques for parasites and toxins. Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Totally do. Um, yeah. Um, Herbs, teas, tinctures, cleansing techniques for parasites and toxins. Yeah. You got to do in my opinion, everybody needs to do that. We as humans, even back in the 1800s, they used to do parasite cleansing. And there were reasons for it. I mean, hello, a lot of people had farms. A lot of people had um, acreage and horses and cows and cattle and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, people were known for doing pretty typical parasite cleanses back in the day. Do your own research. So, anyway, I'm an hour and 58 minutes into this, and uh, Philip is saying my problem with the CIA is how they violate their oath to protect our Constitution. They treat our Constitution like a snot rag. Yes, I agree, Philip. Also, I'm against the torturing of cats. Yeah, amongst other things, torturing of all different kinds of animals. Oh my God, here we go again. Anyhow, Charles, you're not listening to the information. Shelton is asking, "Are you a witch?" No, I'm not. Um, and not in this lifetime. I'm not. Um, but I do know how to protect myself. Just an FYI. Um, Philip says, I wish I was a witch, to be honest. Interesting. Lynn says, everyone gets. It's my grandmother used to line us up for our spoon of sugar and terp. I'm gonna not say the entire word to that because that might end up getting me. Yeah, terp is a That specific subject, my grandfather used to talk about that. He wouldn't stop talking about it. It's different than what we think of in this day and age. Um, it's if I remember correctly, Lynn, isn't it? Oh my God, I had the words and now they're gone. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of targeting that affects me. Um, pine, it's a form of liquidized pine resin, if I remember correctly. With based in alcohol, if I remember. Yes, they changed the recipe now. Yes, and they changed it to where it's toxic. So you cannot do that with the kind of stuff that you find in the hardware section. That would be dangerously toxic. Oh. There are a number, well, not very many. There are a few companies online that sell the real deal. Um, yeah, Paris says my mother talks about taking terp. I'm not saying the whole word. As medicine when she and her siblings were kids. Yeah, my grandfather used to talk about it all the time. He said that if it were not for a combination of terp and a specific kind of mustard, as a pack on his chest, he said that when he was 8 or 9, no, wouldn't have been when he was 9. Must have been before they moved, because he was 8 years old when they went cross country. She was a single mom, and they went essentially across the country and across a major um, river on a horse and wagon in a covered wagon. And he said that one winter he got pneumonia and they thought he was going to die. The local town doctor thought he was actually going to die, and they used um, a combination of, I think, based on what I know, herbs wise, I think that they probably used like pleurisy root and things of that nature, and mullein to help him. But I also, for ingestion, but topical, he talked about his mother had created a terp mustard pack, and it was a hot mustard. And he said it was so hot that it heated up his chest and it helped to bring stuff up. And I was just absolutely amazed by what my grandfather talked about. So I grew up hearing this kind of stuff. Um, and then when he got skin cancer and then ended up with bladder cancer, um, at 80 something years old. He lived to 92, but he was 80. I think he was like 81 or 82 when he got bladder cancer, and they were peeling the cancer off of his bladder. That's how I remember it. And he and my step grandmother, they went into kind of doing a combination of herbals and nutrition and a number of things. And um, just, it was amazing the things that he talked about. And I was absolutely stunned because my grandfather was pretty much regular medicine type of person, like regular medical MD kind of medicine. And even though he grew up with talking about the terp and the mustard packs and every once in a while being given like what you're talking about, Lynn, with the terp and the sugar, spoonful of sugar. He talked about things like that. Um, Lynn says, "Me too. My grandma knew a lot too. I'm 72 now. Yeah, it's a big deal. It really is. So yeah, a lot of our herbal things are very It's what a lot of the pharmaceutical companies are doing. They're taking certain herbs and taking certain things out of those herbs and using that. Um, but then also making billions, if not trillions, of dollars in different things that they're doing. Um, so that's a whole nother subject. Divine Hazel says they have food grade terp for health reasons. Yeah. Philip says I need to start writing down the medicines and supplements I hear about when listening to radio shows from the 30s, 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Oh God, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Um, it was only 2 to 3 drops of the terp and yeah. Yeah, it was very small amounts. I remember my grandfather. It was mostly the sugar and very very tiny amounts of terp. It was not you didn't ingest an entire thing. God, okay, my hair is driving me nuts tonight. It's driving me nuts for 2 days. Anyway, um, I need to go get it cut. I read about a woman in France who outlived her daughter and her grandson. She lived to be 122 years old and 100 plus days. Wow. Yeah, there are certain okay, sorry guys. I do this off camera. Gotta wipe the nose. Oh gosh. My nose is starting to kick in. Yeah, there are people in other countries who live vast number of years. And supposedly I'm supposed to live to 112, so we'll see. The only one who lived to a to 92 was my grandfather. Um, the great aunts and uncles were in their 80s. So um, anyway, I'm babbling on, and it's 2 hours and 7 minutes in. So um, anybody, any other questions or comments, and then it'll be time to go. Really, really appreciate you guys coming in and listening and being in chat and listening about targeting and if you are under targeting in certain ways, know that um, you're not alone. Number one, and that's a good question, Para. I'll read that out loud in a minute. Um, just know that you're not alone. There are support groups. Um, uh, Misha Johnston has a support group for targeted individuals, so look her up. I do not at this very ouch, squeaky, squeaky, ouch. Do not remember her. Oh, Starseed Awakening. I think it's .org, O-R-G. I don't remember if it's O-R-G or .com. But Starseed Awakening is the name of her website, and give her a look up and a shout out and talk to her. She knows quite extensively about targeting, and she provides support groups. So there's a number of others, and of course I'm not thinking of who they are right now. I know that oh gosh almighty, what's her name? Geraldine Orozco does counseling for folks. I believe she does counseling. Don't quote me on that. But go look up her website. I don't remember the website name. But she does have a YouTube channel. So let's see. Misha Johnston, Lorian Fenton, and Melinda Leslie are all individuals who are part of the ufology have been for 30, all of them have been for about 30 plus years. Um, I missed an I. I forgot to put an I in Lorian's name. Lorien. Um, anyway, uh, they all have experience with extraterrestrials, government who are working with ET, things of that nature. So look them up. Oh, thank you, Para. Connect with Geraldine Orozco on the web. Thank you. Um, Appreciate that. Yeah, if you're able to find Misha's, that would be great. I think it's starseedawakening.org. I could be mistaken. Might be a .com. I literally just don't remember. Um, do your own research on health things. Do your own research on stuff. Um, it makes a difference. And if it can help you, it's kind of a big deal. Um, so Para says 112. So this is your midlife crisis. I never thought about that. That's a good point. Let's see. Interesting. And be 160, 16. God, that's a thought. I don't know. That's what I've been told. I don't know if I hope and pray to live to 102. That's my hope. um, but yeah, I've been told by a psychic that who's pretty damn good at what he does, that it was 112, and um, the other side told me it would be 113, and I was like, what? What? So I know that, and I've been psychically shown what I will be looking like in the next 10 years. And I won't look like this body will be very different. I'll be very thin, and very into exercise and doing all sorts of things and horseback riding and somebody else. It's interesting because I'd been having been told by the other side and shown that I'll be around horses again. That blew my mind. I've been shown that I'll be around horses and on my own farm, of a farm of some kind, and I mean, just all sorts of things around a lot of very well-known individuals, people I will not name. Um, and I know that my life is going to change. And I have no idea who's coming with me and who's not. I used to know, and now I don't. So, um, and if things change, they change. So it's how it is, how life is. So anyway, Philip says, my intention is to live to be at least 108 years and 1 day in this lifetime. Right on. Right on. Oh, thank you. It is a .org. Para found Misha's website. So, and he put it in the chat. Misha is at starseedawakening.org. So, give her a shout out and um, yeah, let her know what's going on. If you've got targeting or you're an ET abductee and need support, or you're part of the GATE program and we're part of different government situations because of GATE, give her a shout out. She knows her stuff. Hell, for that matter, so does Lorian Fenton and Melinda Leslie. And there's a number of other women who know. Um, And I'm going to give a shout out to Cheryl Costa. She and her wife, I think it's Linda. Forgive me if I misspoke that. But Cheryl and Linda are, well, Cheryl's a journalist, and Linda was a librarian uh, for government, and they put together a statistician type of book on UFOs across the United States. I think it's called The Big Pink Book of Ufology, 20 years, I think it's 2001 to 2020, I think, or 2021. Anyway, look it up. You want info on ufology? That's some wild sightings and pretty impressive sightings regarding ufology. Anyway, uh, another person, R. Keith Andrews, um, is another person to look up regarding ufology. He's an ET abductee. He has an extensive amount of experiences. I highly recommend him. And Samantha Mowat, Mowat. Both R. Keith Andrews and Samantha Mowat and Misha Johnston and I don't remember. I don't. They all have YouTube channels. Oh, thank you, Linda Miller Costa. Thank you, Para. Cheryl Costa and Linda Miller Costa. Thank you. UFO sightings desk reference, United States of America. Woohoo! Thank you. I appreciate that. um, yeah, so the folks that I mentioned, they have YouTube channels. Another one to look for is oh, Chloe Ariel, um, Whimsical Wednesdays. She's got a channel on YouTube called Whimsical Wednesdays with Chloe, Chloe, and then Ariel, Ariell. um, so yeah, really good channels, really good info. And Chloe connects with nature as well as with, and she's a psychic medium. And she connects with marine life, such as dolphins and whales, and really good info. Anyhow, different subjects, different people to promote and talk about, and they do really good works. I highly recommend those folks. There's a bunch of others that I would recommend. You want Bigfoot regarding, aka known as Sasquatch, look up Duke Sullivan, who has the YouTube channel. Has the YouTube channel World Bigfoot Central, I believe is what that one's called. There's a couple of others. You'd have to go into my YouTube channel to find all of the different channels that I have in file folders. So anyhow, that's it. That's all we're dealing with today. Oh, you found it, Para. Thank you. Whimsical Wednesdays with Chloe Ariel. Trying to think of, and of course, Dave Scott with Spaced Out Radio. Oh, Anchor Haven. She's awesome. Super Soldier Talk. Super Soldier Talk 2. And I'm trying to remember some of these others off the top of my head. Typical Skeptical Podcast is another one. Um, God, there's a bunch of them, and now I can't. They're that it's like it's all kind of blurring together. Anyway, I hope you have a very good rest of your weekend. And thank you, Para. Um, and a very good coming week. Hope I do too, because like I said, I've been fighting migraines and it's been fun. So, take very good care of yourself and remember to get some of that water in if you can. It's kind of important. Um, you know, kind of a big deal. Anyway, take very good care, everybody. And many blessings. Bye, all. And thank you to my mods. Tremendously thank you to my mods. So, you're welcome, Phil. You're welcome, Philip. Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming in. All right, guys. Bye. Okay. Gotta get the button correct. Bye.